you must be able to sell things into the team internally. If you're an A&R, you really must know how to sell things into the people above you, the people beside you, whether it's marketing, finance, like you must really know how to sell things into these people. These boys bought houses for their family, man. You know what I mean? Bought houses for their families at a young age. They're teenagers. You know what I mean? These are things that we should be highlighting that, but instead some people are having conversations on whether they're industry plants or not.
Our sponsors, for the perspective, Fireway Pizza are offering you guys 20% off using our discount code AD20. Use it today, man. Save money, be patterned. We got you. AD20, Fireway Pizza.
I want to say good evening to Deej. How you doing, my bro?
I'm good, man. Happy to be here, man.
Yeah?
Happy to be here, man.
I can't believe I got you to do an interview, bro.
Nah, I can't believe you got me to do an interview, man. I don't think I was worth the interview. Do you know
This
what I mean?
guy's funny. We spoke about it loosely last year.
Yeah.
And I remember at that time, it was like, you know, not even raising your profile. Bro, you're quite laid back. You don't really like to be in front of what's really going on.
Yeah.
Before anything, like, why is that? Is that your personality, or why is that your approach in this business?
You know what it is? It's many things, innit? It's a layer of things, but the work's the most important, really and truly, innit? I just want to get the work done, and do what I think matters.
But I guess in this industry, a lot of people don't rely on the work to get forward. I guess you've started.
Yeah, so I thought we would talk about that a bit later. But like whether that's the right or wrong choice I've made by not being so, forward facing at the front of everything, so frontline.
All right, so let's scale back. So you are a music manager. You co-founded or set up House of Z. You manage a plethora of artists. And how I came across you is when I used to be at PRS. And we was like looking at like people that we were going to be working with, like looking after them. And I remember your name came up. And I think I followed you on Instagram or whatever. But prior to that, I had no knowledge of who you were. Then I looked at your setup. I was like, yo, there's Kidwild, Highlly, A1 and J1. At this point, A1 and J1 have done really well. And Highlly had also had the song that went viral and she ended up getting signed for. So that was my entry point, probably like 2.5 years, maybe 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half plus 2 years. So my thing is like, but then how did you actually start as a manager? Like, what was actually the beginning of it? Because it just seems like there's House Z, and I don't know the backstory, and I think a lot of the viewers would understand it.
So I've heard this a few times, really. I've been in and around music. In and around, when I say in and around, you know, I've had 1 or 2 friends that have gone on to be artists in the UK that have done all right for themselves. You know what I mean? And I was around them before anything kicked off. Do you know what I mean? And that was just friendship away from music, if that makes sense. So I didn't even realize what I was around at the time. And then fast forward, I was a part of a team called Double Up that used to manage Hacks.
I remember Hacks.
That was years back now. Yeah, so
he was signed to Sony for a while.
He had a situation. So that was my first experience at a certain level within music and in and around the industry. And then fast forward again, I'm looking after Ads Millie, who's my younger brother. But when I say looking after, that's actually just my younger brother, really and truly.
What, blood brother?
Yeah. Same parents. Do you know what I mean? That's my family, blood. So looking after him, and I have a younger cousin, Dilo, who's my partner, my business partner. So we're just looking after Ads, really and truly. When I say looking after, I'm just his big brother, really and truly, just doing things as a big bro. And then Dilo's like an older cousin to him, so just looking after him as well. And shooting music videos, doing things. Stumble across A1 and J1 through my brother. So my brother's 22 years old now, I think. So he's an age mate to J1, A1 not far off their age. They're all of this new era. You know what I mean? These guys use the internet like crazy. They connect with each other on there. So my brother obviously knows J1 in person, but is connected with A1. And he just put me across them. Yeah, he put me on their radar, or put them on my radar, and said, yo, I got these brethren, they make music, look after them. And yeah, I'm a manager.
What's interesting about that is you and I have had conversations, and I remember it was like you were in a car one time and we were talking about artists.
Yeah.
And I think he was referencing what your brother thinks of. Like he's got like the ear to what's going on.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
But when your brother's saying to you, okay, cool, there's these guys, yeah. Like, how do you approach that? Because they weren't A1 and J1 at that point, were they?
Yeah. So their story is unique, innit? Their story is unique. I don't know how many people are aware, but yeah, they met online during lockdown. Obviously, like I said, my brother already knew J1 in person. They were friends from the same area, age mates and stuff. A1, yeah, they met online during COVID. I think the house party was jumping off them times. So these people are all in rooms with each other and just connecting. To me, it was foolishness, but to these kids, that's their world. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So they was doing some genius things in there without knowing, I think. But yeah, they've connected. A1 had recorded a song, and J1 had recorded a song separately, both on the same beat. And J1's heard the song, and J1 liked it so much, he's just edited the song and said, yeah, like, let's put this together. And that's what I've heard. I've heard some knockoff version of a song. Do you know what I mean? Well, I've just heard an attempt at, putting a song together from J1. And that's what my brother played to me. And yeah, me and D-Lo have ended up connecting with these two kids, meeting their parents. When I heard the song, actually, that song's now it's known as Latest Trends now, isn't it?
Really?
Yeah, so yeah, that's the song I'm talking about. But when I heard the song originally, it was new, it was different. I hadn't heard anything like it before. It was mad melodic, you know what I mean? You had A1 just singing this mad melody, but saying some real stuff in the melody. I don't know if people actually notice what he's saying. But yeah, he had some lyrics in there, and he was talking about a time he could have been homeless. You know what I mean? But he was singing it in such a melodic and upbeat and happy way. It almost went over your head. And that's what drew me to the song. Albeit it wasn't a genre of music or a style of music or an attempt it wasn't an attempt at this music that I'd heard before, innit? So yeah, that was my first time hearing something like that, and I was just taken aback. And yeah, went to meet both the kids and their parents at the time. A1 lived in Coventry, J1 lived in Kent. And yeah, these two separate entities, A1 All Funds, J1 Mullah as they went by at the time, ended up becoming A1 and J1.
Wow. How old were they? They were young men, weren't they?
Young man. A1 was 15, J1 was 17.
Did their names all have the ones in it before, or was it, did you guys?
No. These guys, like I said, A1 All Funds and J1 Mullah, I don't know, that's just the thing these kids do, innit? I don't know many guys, B1, D1. Yeah, do you know what I mean? So yeah. Okay,
so that's the start of that part, yeah. So I guess everyone would know that A1 and J1, like, Latest Trends went off, bro. So we'll kind of get to the deal signing in a bit, but for when you heard the record, how long was it until you had interest from the labels?
The record was online on TikTok. Once again, that's the kids. I'll be real with you. Like, a lot of people would sit here and tell you after the fact that we strategically did some magic, but these kids were just moving. So J1 put the snippet online on TikTok in December 2020, I believe it was. Yeah, December 2020, and I had heard it thereabouts around that time, and then I think the song went viral by the end of January. Yeah, and then the label interest come around that time as well.
So what time were you involved in?
From the end of December, I believe. Yeah.
Hey, so you caught a touch then getting in there.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, got there early, but that's my little brother. Do you get me? So yeah, credit to him.
Just random. So in that process, when things are taken off, are other people trying to like get involved? Don't have to say names if there were, but was there other people trying to get involved to manage them? Because when everything's moving, were other people trying to reach out? No,
really and truly, yeah. This was early. TikTok wasn't it. Well, from my understanding, TikTok in the UK wasn't a thing like that.
Yeah.
So I like to think the boys were the first of their kind. Do you know what I mean? So there wasn't much around them at the time. So there wasn't people trying to manage them, chasing them or anything like that. There wasn't many labels interested as well by the time the song went viral, if I'm being honest with you. I feel like at that point, this was a new thing that nobody understood.
Yeah. And 2020, I'm trying to figure out the climate of music then. It was different. Okay, so you get to, the interest happens in that January.
Yeah.
Was it just one label? Was it multiple labels who were interested in?
Yeah, it was one label at the time. One label, early, very early actually. That was EMI.
Yeah.
So EMI, actually Emmanuel to be specific, was very early, and he was an A&R at EMI at the time, very very early, and he was the only label at the time actually.
Oh, so there wasn't even a bidding war.
Nah, that was the only A&R at the time initially.
And just for context, like if that was to happen now,
Crazy bidding war, like yeah, it would have been crazy.
Crazy
because the level of virality we're talking about was crazy. It was actually crazy, but no one understood that at the time. Like I'm saying, yeah.
So even for yourself, you probably didn't fully grasp what was.
Yeah and no. So I definitely saw the virality because I was in the thick of it.
Yeah.
I was invested with these boys at that point. So yeah, we saw the virality, and I think we had a conversation with someone at TikTok at the time who asked us like what label's behind you guys, because usually if you see something like this,
It's a push.
there's a push. So that was reassuring to hear at the time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So okay, cool. So a lot of people go for deals. I guess with your situation, there was only one label interested, right?
Yeah.
When you're going into this deal, is there anything that you learned previously with hacks that you're thinking about when you're going into this deal? Like where are you getting? Obviously, there's going to be lawyers involved, but
Yeah.
how are you knowing what you feel may be right, may be wrong?
Once again, yeah, I can sit here and talk like I knew it all, but I really didn't. A lot of it was just learning on the job, really and truly. A couple conversations here and there with people that had some sort of experience, but really and truly I had no relationships in this industry, really and truly. No one I could really call and ask to walk me through or talk me through anything.
You end up signing the deal. How do you guys go about picking your lawyers? That's an interesting thing.
Yeah. So lawyers get thrown at you. Labels suggest people to you. A&Rs, other managers, people just suggest and recommend lawyers.
Okay.
And you end up picking them, yeah.
Okay, cool. So then we'll park that one for the time being. Highlly is also another artist that you guys work with. Like, Highlly comes after A1 and J1, right?
Yeah, quite a while after them actually, yeah.
Okay, cool. So we're gonna tie things together, but
Yeah.
So how did you come across Highlly?
So Highlly's, firstly, she's their age, so she's an age mate of A1 and J1 and Ads. And she's from, I know her older brother as well actually, I know her older brother. I went to college with her older brother. Okay. So, yeah. And she has a younger brother who's Ads' friend. So my younger brother's friend is her brother as well.
Hey, your brother.
Listen. Like my brother's, he's really in the thick of this. I want to call it this Gen Z thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's dismissive or not, but he's really in the thick of things, innit? So he's a good read on things. So I usually take his advice or hear him out and listen when he speaks on certain things in that generation or around him. So yeah, Highlly's in and around these guys. I've been aware of her. I've always known she's a singer. And funny enough, like, so Highlly's this, well, back then Highlly was the kind of person that would always just be singing or doing something, innit? So she's hard to miss. So the boys would have something going on, Ads would have something going on, then there's this girl, she might be the only girl there, and she's just doing something. I don't know whether it's dancing, filming, TikTok, whatever it is, innit? So it's hard to miss, and I'll just notice, like, rah, like, she's always here, innit? And it takes a lot of courage to be in and around as the only girl as well.
Yep.
Especially when the rest of these guys have got things going on and you don't per se at the time, you know what I mean? So I just took note of that and respected it and had a conversation with her. Spoke to her brother, spoke to my younger brother, like put me in contact properly. Spoke to her older brother, like I wanna, look after her, and yeah, man.
At that point, is the song gone viral yet, or was it before?
Nah, way before.
Really?
Yeah, way before. We were still trying to find a sound or an identity. We were still trying to figure things out, really. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So cool. That's the ground point. And then also Kidwild.
So Kidwild, once again, A1, J1 Ads, like these kids.
Are they a community?
So you know what? Yeah. Like that. I say that era. Like this thing is from the past when it's really not. These kids are still young. They're in their early 20s. Some of them still teenagers. But yeah, you see that crop of talent that come through just after COVID or during COVID, coming out of COVID, there was a lot of them. And these kids all knew each other. And yeah, they were a community. A lot of these kids were just, connected. Some of them were influencers. YouTubers, TikTokers, artists, dancers, actors, and they all knew each other. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's how I met Kidwild.
He's also an actor as well, right?
Actor, dancer, rapper, like very talented, very, very, very talented kid.
Cool. So that's basically the talent, and then we're gonna explore more of these things. House of Z. What for you is House of Z, and what does it represent?
So like the word house is very important because you know a house kind of symbolizes somewhat a family community. There's many rooms in a house, so I was just trying to build an entity that could house so many different things, whether it's artists, actors, models, whatever it may be.
Athletes,
you know what I mean? So yeah, a house that houses all sorts of talent.
Okay, cool. So House of Z got artists. So now look, so A1 and J1, their song going back to their song's going off. So that'll be top of 2021.
Yeah, 21.
We're all still on lockdown. Right? It's going off. Not going into numbers.
Yeah.
When you start going through walk people through like on a layman's term of like how A&Rs approach you, how it then goes to like what's the protocol? It's like, is it so people understand how it works out?
Different ways, man. Some A&Rs straight in the artist DMs. The artist has to direct them to management. Some A&Rs find the managers straight in the manager's DMs. Some A&Rs get put in contact, so might have your number from someone. Some might hit you up in email. But yeah, A&Rs are very direct in it. So yeah, very direct.
And then when you get to the part where, what was the first meeting like?
I'll be real, it was very informal. You know what I mean? I think we might have spoken on the phone and then linked up outside the studio, but it wasn't a grand studio. Like it might have been in containers somewhere in Southeast London. Yeah, that was the first meeting.
How do you go from there to the office? Because obviously, from my experience, you have a meeting with an A&R.
Yeah.
Then they may say they may want to do an offer. Then they'll say, who can we send it to? Have you got a lawyer? Then,
okay, yeah. All of that happened. So we went through all that. Yeah, that all happened. All those formalities, you know, lawyers send offers out to the lawyers. But all of this happened without us stepping foot in the office. This was COVID. So yeah, I hadn't seen the inside of the Universal building at that point. Yeah, I think for like the first year, actually maybe I'm pushing it, but like.
No, it's definitely yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Because it was the end of they were doing the staggering people in.
Yeah, I hadn't seen the inside of that building, and we were signed there and had some success there.
Did you take the first offer?
Nah.
So when offer comes in, are you going back to the lawyers and saying, this doesn't, we need more, we need to change this? How involved are you?
Okay, so yeah, when the first offer came in, without talking numbers, the first offer came in and everybody was ready to sign, apart from myself, of course. But I just had certain experiences that told me better in it. Do you know what I mean? So I had certain experiences, I had some sort of information that just let me know that this ain't the thing to do. The boys were eager, as you can imagine, like, they're gonna sign me for a song that we made for fun. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, it was a level of money that the boys hadn't seen at that time, of course.
Yeah.
So they were jumping at the idea of signing, do you know what I mean? And I think D-Lo at the time was like, you know what? These boys are raring to go. Let's do it, innit? But sometimes I can be abrasive in my approach, innit? So they're all raring to go, and I'm like, no, we're not doing this. And I think it got to the point where me and D-Lo had to have a conversation where he's like, listen, Deej, they haven't seen this kind of money before. You can't just pop their thing down like that. But what I should have told him was, no, we're not signing this offer. We need to go back and forth with them, innit? But where it's all our first time in this kind of situation, I guess maybe not everyone knew that you're meant to negotiate. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, if we had signed the deal at that point, they would have been laughing. I'm sure Emmanuel would be a legend for that. Yeah, that kind of deal. Yeah, the first offer, he would have been a legend for close of that.
In comparison to what the songs brought in.
Yeah, definitely.
That okay, cool. So when you go for that, and that's another thing, bro. I think that's the key point for a lot of like managers and artists to know is like, if you come from, it's not even from the roads, but certain money is just.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So yeah, like yeah. But that's a gift and a curse at the same time, though, because yeah, when you come from a certain environment or when you just have certain experiences anyway, you know. So when you're a bit older, which I was to them at the time, I still am, but of course, the figure that I heard initially just wasn't anything to sign for. But sometimes some people price themselves out. You know what I mean? So they'll hear a figure, nah, that's too low. But in reality, that's actually the value of what you're bringing. So it makes sense to sign at that.
What was it? Was it a 2 singles and an option, or what was the structure at the time?
The first deal we signed was a single with 2 options.
So single, 2 singles.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not.
Option of 2 further singles, yeah.
Okay, cool. And when does Latest Trends fully come out?
Latest Trends came out in February 2021, I believe, yeah.
So it moved really quick, man.
Yeah, move rapid.
Well, I guess everyone's at home in COVID, isn't it? So
Everyone was at home in COVID, man. Crazy time.
Okay, so now I can. So I may have said this to you before. I remember when the song came out.
Yeah.
We'll go into the second song. I remember when the first song came out, I was like, what is this? I didn't get it.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
We're all locked down.
Yeah.
And I thought, yeah, how's this happening? Because I looked first at the boys following. I'm like, they ain't got a lot of followers.
Yeah.
I'm not really privy to what TikTok is now. I'm like, how is this doing this?
Yeah.
Where did the song land in the first week?
Top 20. I think we landed number 19 first week. Yeah, man.
Straight. And it didn't go straight out, did it? Or did it stay in there? Or do you remember?
No, it stayed in there. The song built. It snowballed into a moment, really and truly. Yeah, man, that was a good time still. Good time. And when I think, yeah, good time, man.
I didn't think, I was like, this isn't real. I hadn't seen it before.
Yeah.
I hadn't.
Yeah.
Like, we had situation where you've had barking, but we hadn't had, let me use the language right, we hadn't had someone come from TikTok.
Yeah.
And then just go straight into the charts.
Yeah.
With no cultural, like, gatekeeping, like, oh, he did this freestyle. Or, we didn't know these kids, bro.
Yeah,
and they're in the top 20.
Yeah.
At that point there, right, so when you now get to that top 20,
Yeah.
obviously Zooms is like, but how's the label responding to you? You must be the golden kids now.
I guess so. So yeah, we've landed top 20. I'll be so honest with you. Didn't know what it meant. Didn't really care.
Really?
So
Yeah.
I was reacting to the information being given, like, oh, this is a smash, boys, top 20. But in my head, I'm like, okay, like top 20. There's nothing tangible with a top 20 in it. It's just a top 20.
Yeah.
And if I go and say that to people in my community where I'm from, okay, top 20, yeah, cool. No one cares.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So yeah, top 20. I could see the label's excitement, the way they were interacting, engaging with us, let me know it was a big deal. And we just kept the campaign going, kept building.
There was a remix, right?
Yeah.
Who was on the remix?
H was on the remix.
That's why I remember again. Because when H hopped onto it, and the way it seemed to be all organic, right? I was like, nah, this song has to be big.
Yeah.
Because for H to get on the record.
Yeah.
And H, I now say, I know H, I know Addicts.
Yeah.
But through optics, H was putting his arms around, like he was involved in it. He was like doing like content with the guys.
Yeah.
What do you remember what month the remix was done?
I can't remember. It might have been a few months after. I can't remember. But yeah, the song was in the charts. Was still in the top 20 after a couple of months of being out or a couple of weeks of being out. I can't remember. Yeah.
Mental. How are you managing the? How would A1 and J1 responding to this? Because this is cool. If it's new for you.
Yeah.
What's it doing to them? They're young.
I'll be real, man. Still COVID, man. So these kids are all over the radio, in the charts, but they don't know what that means and they can't feel anything. Nothing's really changed. So these kids are still living like normal kids.
And they can't perform the song anyway because
can't perform the song. There's no shows. We're still locked down. Yeah. But yeah, they're going studio. We're already working on our next single and stuff. So getting them cabs to studio, staying in hotels and all sorts of things.
Do you know to date how many sales the record's done? Latest Trends. Is that their biggest selling record?
I believe so. Latest Trends is a platinum selling record in the UK.
So that's over 600,000.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, over 600,000. Yeah, on Spotify alone, I think over 170, 180 million streams. Or if we include the remix, over 200 million streams, I'm sure.
Out the gate.
Yeah. It was a big record at the time. It ended up number 2 in the UK charts, actually. Yeah.
Oh, so it climbed from 19
Yeah,
to
it
number
climbed
2.
from 19. It ended up in the top 10. dropped the remix, and then yeah, we was battling for #1 at the time. Crazy, right?
Do you remember who he was going against?
I can't remember, man. One of these records, Sea Shanty or something.
Okay.
Sea Shanty Wellerman, proper viral record. But
Yeah.
that showed me like what Middle England is, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the follow up? Because the follow up did well as well, right? Oh my god.
Yeah. They had a follow-up record with Dino called Baby at the time, and that went top 100. Yeah. It was a good record. Fans liked the record. That's some fans' favorite record to this day out of their catalogue. So yeah, did well.
Well, okay, so I guess after the first record, you know, bro, who gives you the information about, okay, maybe it's time to renegotiate, or who does Emmanuel come to you and say, look, we may want to tie the guys in for longer? Cause
Yeah, of course, it's already in the contract, innit? So their label have the right to exercise an option, and they have to make that decision within a period of time post the first song, right? So yeah, the song come out, the song's flying, they exercise the option, we drop a second song.
Then what was the third single?
So there's the boys' third single with EMI was a record with Tion Wayne called Night Away. But before they dropped that song come out in 2022, early 2022. But before they dropped that, they had a record come out with Switch OTR at the time. They had a record come out with Switch OTR at the time that ended up a top 5 record in the UK.
Top 5?
Yeah.
So basically the first 3 records is a #2, top 100, and a top 5?
Yeah.
First 3 singles?
Yeah.
When you get into that third single, at what point do you go and do a new deal after the options of the 1+2 is done?
So we did a new single around the time of that third song coming out with EMI. Yeah.
Okay, cool. What was the deal? Was that an album? Was it a mix?
So yeah, it was a project deal.
Okay.
And yeah, they wanted to lock us in for a project.
Cool, bro. So like that speaks to, and I think those numbers statistically, you may not know the numbers. If you were to hazard a guess, how much do you reckon those songs were generated?
Financially,
Yeah. Gross. What do you reckon it's gross?
We're in the millions.
Millions.
Yeah, I'm sure of it, man. Of course.
Okay. Hats off, bro. That's crazy. House of Z, though, right? I want to get into House of Z. So in this period, Brad, this is the thing I said to you. Like, a lot of people don't know that you had like a JV with House of Z, and you was also working as consultants at House of Z. Many people don't. I can't tell you how many people in the industry had that. Yeah. I think at the time, only you had that, right? How did that all come together, and why do you think it was? Do you reckon it was due to the success? Like, how did the House of Z getting a JV with EMI happen?
So, Kidwild was actually signed to Atlantic at a point, and Rich Castillo was his A&R. So we had a relationship there, and this industry is so interesting. So people move, people get new jobs.
Musical chair.
Yeah. Rich, who we had a relationship with, ended up at EMI. Ended up as a serious exec at EMI, and he brought us in.
By that time, though, you already had A1 and J1 at EMI?
Yeah, A1 and J1.
Was Highlly at EMI at that point?
Highlly, yes, Highlly was at EMI.
Okay, so your stable of artists has already gone there?
Yeah.
Cool. So then how does the House of Z thing come together then?
So like I said, so Rich was at EMI, and we were just having conversations, and he said he wanted to bring us in. I guess he respected what we had done. He respected what the company had done.
Bro, can I just pause it? At that point, did you know what you had done?
I'll be real. Nah. In real time, I didn't know what we was doing. When I say I didn't know what we was doing, I didn't understand the success of what we were doing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And can I just say, upon reflection, that's a trick. Do you know what I mean? Like, this industry is just, there's something about this industry that never allows you, and when I say that, it's not like I'm blaming anyone or anything, but just note to people out there, there's something about this industry that doesn't allow you to feel the success whilst you're in the success. Or maybe that's just life. When you're going through things or when you're creating history, I've heard many people say they didn't know that's what they were doing at the time. But whilst we was in the charts, whilst we were just streaming well and doing all these things, I didn't really realize what was happening at the time. You know what I mean?
There is a rule of thumb that I've seen that when it's working, just keep a lot of things, like keep activity. So
Yeah.
like, just keep them active.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't know the magnitude of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's only when it doesn't work, you're reminded maybe you're only here because of what worked a year ago, 2 years ago. And it's not really about you, it's about what the record did.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Okay, cool. So bro, so you've done really well. Richard has spotted it. I guess, and I'll speak for myself, I think he probably knew that you guys being closer to EMI will help him because you've already got something, you got numbers on the board. He can see the P&L. He knows, he can see the 7 figures that's coming in. So do you think it was like, not strategic, but it was like, get the guys who's got access to the Gen
I don't know,
Z?
man. I couldn't really speak for him. And also, sorry, I forgot to mention, Archie Lamb was involved in this whole process, actually. So when I said Emmanuel initially, Emmanuel and Archie at the time were working the project together internally at EMI. And when it come to bringing House of Z in to EMI, of course, initially the conversation started with Rich. Archie was already at EMI prior to Rich. And both of them helped get that situation over the line.
Okay, cool. So Archie was basically co-signing the work you've done.
Of course.
This bit's a bit, not grey area. You can divert if you want. Bro, what is actually the remit? Like when someone gives you, so it's a JV, but you guys also came as consultants.
Yeah.
What does Rich tell you your job is or what you're meant to do?
Just bringing some hot shit. Like, yeah, you guys understand what you're doing, you understand the culture, you understand this new wave of artists. Just bringing some hot shit.
Okay. Can I push back a
Yeah,
little
of
bit?
course.
You've been there for 3 years. You haven't brought in any hot shit, or do you feel you have? Nah, because
Yeah.
I have to be fair. Obviously, people were looking, thinking, "Rah, like, how did my man get this thing?" I think now
of
people
course.
can see that you've had a number 5, a number 2.
Yeah, of course.
Cool. Boom. That's putting numbers on the board.
Yeah.
Then you're given a remit of bringing hot shit.
Yeah.
But you've been in that situation for 3 years. We haven't had a House of Z signing.
No. So we've been in that situation for 2 years, or we're in our second year now.
Okay, you're in
So
second year now.
Yeah, we're in our second year now. We're coming towards the end of our second year. And yeah, no, we haven't signed any artists per se, nah.
Why would that be?
That's a good question, man. It's a bunch of things. We've tried to sign artists, and just things beyond our control, things out of our control. Just didn't let things happen. Yeah.
And I think like I'm saying, I had to ask that question because people look at things and they may think, "Oh, but my man didn't. They just sat on the check."
Okay. So yeah. Nah, look, so firstly, there's been many opportunities to sign things, and I'm sure if a lot of A&Rs are open and honest, there's always things to sign, but then some things you just don't want to be a part of. And then I guess sometimes you have this battle with yourself, like, do I want to attach myself to that? Can I help that? You know what I mean? There's so many different things that go on in your head. Number one is, do I want to attach myself to that sometimes? Another thing is, can I actually help that situation? Is this a hit? Is this not? Does this thing work? You know what I mean? There's so many things that go around in your head. So I'll speak for myself and House of Z. Yeah, we had opportunities to sign things, and there's things that we didn't want to, that we just didn't think was worth us doing the deal on. And there are other things that we really thought was worth us doing the deal on. And we've practically signed a deal before. Yeah, we've signed an artist before, essentially.
Can we? Okay, look. So,
Yeah.
and I guess part of this conversation is, I'm not going to kid the audience. Like, certain things I don't know, right?
Yeah, of course.
But I think there's a part where when I've got people that I consider friends in the industry, and I understand what is on the other side of the table, the things they have to deal with. Many people come in and think, "Oh yeah, I want to be an A&R." Brother, A&Rs is not just like saying I'm signing this and they're signing it. There's a process.
Of course.
Finance, like business affairs, like. Bro, some people just don't want to sign it for various reasons. Or sometimes because they're not the person signing it. It's many reasons. I know about the Pozer situation. One, because you told me about it early on.
Yeah, I probably told everyone about it earlier on. I was gassed, I was excited.
No,
about it.
yeah. And I'll give for context. I don't want to overtalk in this interview. Deej called me and he told me, this guy poses a star. I was like, you sure, bro? He's like, bro, he's a star. I went to his block. I listened to him. I spoke to him. These are all the things you went to his block. You spoke to him. You understood him. When he was rapping, you was telling me like there was nuances and rationale as to why he told me this guy was a star and why you wanted to sign him. And not many A&Rs are going to do that. They ain't going all the way up to Croydon and to go and sit, you get me, and talk to a man about music. And the fact is like, you really believed in him because you're telling people how much you believe in him. So I want to go on timelines. What drew your attention to Pozer and when did he first come upon your radar?
It was in December. So, yeah, the end of 2023. Yeah, end of 2023. So a year had gone past, and really and truly, me and Dilo hadn't signed anything. And
were you feeling pressure at that point again?
I wouldn't say I was feeling pressure. I'll be real, man. If I was feeling pressure, I'd let you know. I wasn't feeling pressure. I just believe in what we're doing, innit? So the year had gone by. We hadn't signed anything. I didn't think there was anything worth us signing, I guess. And you know, I knew something would come, as it has done throughout our time here so far. Things come because we're in the right places. Do you know what I mean? We're on the ground, really and truly.
Facts.
So yeah, Pozer comes across our radar, and once again adds. Do you know what I mean?
Adds again.
Yeah. When I say my brother's really in the thick of things. You know what I mean? So he's just floated it across me and Dilo's radar. Dilo's listened to it, I've listened to it. I'm like, this is crazy. Dilo's made an initial contact with Pozer's manager. Big up Shaq. He's like people's. And then I'm just like, I'm listening to it over and over again. And I'm like, yo, I need to link him. And I think Dilo might have linked him in the office or something. And I said, nah, I need to link him where he's from. Do you know what I mean? So we've arranged to link him in Croydon. And I just do that because I know me on the other end, if I'm not sitting where I'm sitting now, and I'm on the other end, I'm the artist or I'm the manager, and I come from a certain place, certain environment, when I'm dealing with anyone, I just want to know this person understands what they're dealing with. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I really wanted to link him where he's from, just to let him know that, yeah, you can come to the office because that's where business gets done, but at the same time, everything you're bringing here is where you're from. Do you know what I mean? Your whole essence, your whole aura, everything is over there. So I'm coming over there to let you know I understand over there. And I'm not scared to come over there. Do you know what I mean? I grew up over there. Do you know what I mean? And we're really from the same place and we're really on the same page and we're going to build from this place. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, sat down with him and his manager. And I always tell people this story, yeah. A lot of times you will link artists and they'll plug in the aux. They'll ask for the aux. And then, okay, he asked for the aux, I think. Actually, he didn't ask for aux, nah. He just put on a beat, I think, on his PlayStation or YouTube on his TV, and he started rapping. Do you know what I mean? And it's not many times I've linked artists. I've linked a few artists, and like I said, they all reach for the aux and they play the music. And he didn't want to play music. He just wanted to rap. So he's put on a beat and he's rapping. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's so mad, I'll be real. Like, I can't even articulate properly, but I just know there was an energy in the room. And I said, this is crazy. He's rapping to my face. I believe what he's saying. I feel the energy in the room at the time. And it just reminded me of where I'm coming from, really and truly. Like, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of the man them rap. A lot of people I grew up with rap. A lot of men are hard. A lot of men never made it. A lot of men didn't know they could make it. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to navigate. So when I was listening to Pozer rap, it just reminded me of the essence of this thing. And that's why I was so gassed about it.
I remember that. I remember the key word you said to me was that I believe him.
Yeah, facts.
I believe him.
Yeah.
And as even you're quoting some of his bars, and you're saying that, bro, for him to even write it like that,
100%, man.
You fully believed in him.
Yeah.
So cool. So now, bro, painting the picture, you're excited, you want to do the deal.
Yeah.
The reverse is, you know, it's like when people try to sign you.
Yeah.
You want to do the deal. I feel at that time, you and Pozer and the manager, you're now in sync.
Yeah.
They want to do a deal with you.
Yeah.
And you want to do a deal with them. Where does it, and again, be guided in where does it go wrong where everyone wants to do the deal and the deal doesn't happen?
A bunch of things, man. But one of the major things is, I guess, Universal and TikTok had a dispute at the time. So timing, yeah, Universal and TikTok had a dispute. Universal artists' music couldn't exist on the platform at the time. Pozer had gone viral on TikTok at the time. I guess maybe there was, I don't know, I can't speak on what I don't know. I'm just going to assume maybe there was information from above just to not sign anyone until the situation gets resolved with TikTok. So that's the information that was fed to me. We launched a pre-save campaign with the kitchen stove as the record, innit?
But how if you haven't signed the record?
No, trust me, the deal was getting done. So lawyers back and forth.
You'll just get in front of it.
They signed on his side, so his team had signed. The deal was signed on his side. It just needed to be countersigned.
Countersigned, yeah.
We started the campaign, video treatment, everything. A video treatment was done. You know what I mean? Launched the pre-save campaign. Like I said, 10,000 pre-saves. And for context, what I was told, when H did Baby, the record was, H had a record called Baby. That was a big record. Number 2 in the charts as well. Stayed in the charts for a long time. I think his pre-save campaign was 10. Yeah, I think he had 10K pre-saves as well before the record come out.
So we can see where it could.
Yeah, potentially.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
That part I'm going to leave as a grey area.
Nah, coincidentally, like, some things are timing, innit? Everything happens for a reason. TikTok and Universal had a dispute within that time.
Yeah.
It was literally bad timing.
Bad timing. Okay, that's an industry answer. I'm going to work with you. No, I'm joking. Were you deflated after that though? For whatever reason, whether it's TikTok, whatever it is, because significantly thereafter the song went and did what you anticipated it would do.
Yeah.
With the same treatment. With there was.
Obviously they ended up signing elsewhere. Dope team that they've signed to. The team that they've signed to understand the music as well. Understand. Yeah, they're good. They're good. Good team. Yeah, man. With or without us, I'll be real. With or without us, the tune was always going to do what it was going to do. It's just the nuance. It's just little things that I feel like we could add that maybe another person can't add, and vice versa. There's things that they can do that we can't do. But ultimately, the artist is the artist. He's cold. The manager's the manager. He knows what he's doing. And you know what I mean? It was always going to happen.
Is there ever I told you so? Like when you go, because bro, I'll be real, like, bro, and I have to always give context. I don't want to just have you out there like, oh, I'm trying to draw you out, bro. There's plenty of times I tell artists, yo, you should work with this person, you know, bro. They're moving slow, bro. Now the artist is blown up. Now you're like, I'm like, bro, you had your chance. As an A&R, when you go back into the office, this is work. Now I'm not even talking about that. This is work. Like, did you feel like, listen, look, that could have been artists, and also for House of Z, like,
naturally. I'll be real. Naturally, there's that feeling like, yo, this thing, we knew it was going to do this. Everyone should have just backed it and got this over the line. But like I said, TikTok, Universal dispute. Who knows what was happening above us? That's not my business. You know what I mean? So yeah, it just never happened. But then also, I guess we'll never know. But one thing I did learn as well, innit, from that situation and just from my time of being here, part of the job is knowing how to sell things into people, innit? So I can speak on what a next man has done and what powers are at play and preventing things from happening, but that's not really important to me because it's not within my control. But what is within my control that I definitely learned is you must be able to sell things into the team internally. If you're an A&R, you really must know how to sell things into the people above you, the people beside you, whether it's marketing, finance, like you must really know how to sell things into these people. Yeah. And that's how you get things done.
It's experience as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's experience as well. Pozer, shout out to Pozer. He's done, I think that song from the scene is probably the breakout song, one of the breakout songs of the year.
Yeah.
How I would have taken that is like almost internal validation, like I trust my instincts now.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what I mean? So I mean, I've got like the accolades, but what I believe will be so, it was going to be so.
But like, we trust our instincts from before that. Like I said, we've had success with our artists, and we're not just, like, me and Dilo are very hands-on in our approach to the way we manage. Do you know what I mean? So there's plays we've made and there's songs we've sat in on when being created that have ended up being huge successes. So we've always trusted our instinct.
When you talk about being in the studio, what significant, not significant, but what parts have you played in sessions that like we can say, okay, cool, yeah, look, that helped that. Even if it's a small part, like that we put this person together, that producer, or we said this song should work. Like, where has it worked for you?
There's plenty of things that we've both done, me and D-Lo, innit? Whether it's the structure of a song. So Latest Trends, as you hear it now, wasn't the original structure of the song, do you know what I mean? And that's that. It sounded very different before we touched it and, you know, just reconstructed.
Who led on that?
Both of us, really and truly, both of us. Yeah.
Nah, cap, bro.
Both of us, trust me.
Both could play a role, but one person says something and the other says true. Could have been like...
Yeah. No, honestly, both of us. Yeah, both of us reconstructed that song and it is where it is today. And there's other records that, you know what I mean, it starts with an idea from me and D-Lo, and that's not to take anything away from the artist because they execute, you know what I mean, and we're in sync.
Within the industry, like people who play like these small little like roles that end up helping the record. Do you reckon they're acknowledged enough?
Everyone gets what they deserve in this life, man. I'll be real a minute. So speaking on our situation, everybody that's got credited for the role they've played really played a role in it. So Emmanuel played his role for sure. Archie played his role for sure. The marketing team played their role for sure. She's not really out there. You see, so Michaela Brown, yeah? Marketing person that led on A1 and J1. Just couple calls she made that were gold. And at the time, not many people or the boys actually didn't agree with what she was saying at the time, innit? Because it just felt so left to what they're used to. But there's certain calls she made and things that she did that we ended up getting the boys to, you know, comply with, that ended up being gold for us. So yeah, man, everyone played their part. And me and D-Lo definitely played our part. And in regards to maybe me and D-Lo not getting as much recognition as other people or whatnot, that's down to us, really. Down to us. Can't really point the finger at no one. Naturally, I wasn't a frontline kind of person, do you know what I mean? Naturally, but with time I've realised maybe that's part of the job, to be proactive and frontline and just let people know who it is that you do. Let people know who it is you are and what it is that you do. You know what I mean?
And from the streets, we just say, you gotta know who you're talking to, fam. sometimes you're like, you gotta know who you're talking to, because if you're in any business, if you by any way, shape or form grossed another company millions of pounds with an asset that you preside over, bruv, there's something in it.
Yeah,
but it's I don't care if it's music, I don't care if it's TikTok, if you generate something that it goes into 7 figures. So let's move on. So Highlly, right? Highlly, the record that, bro, explain to me the whole thing with Budge. Like, how does it?
So Highlly, listen, when I say that's a bundle of energy, like you've met Highlly, Highlly, you've seen what she's like, innit? So that's someone that's so pushful when it comes to anything, really. Anything that she thinks is a goal, she's gonna push for it, innit? Do you understand? So that record there, we tried a bunch of records before. That was her first record that she had ever released at the time, actually. But yeah, she tried a bunch of records before. We tried a bunch of records, working with producers. She would come into A1 and J1 sessions, just try a couple top lines. Off the back of their sessions, maybe do this and do that. You know, we were trying a bunch of things. And yeah, I had a whole plan. And idea for Highlly, innit? But you see Highlly, she just wanted to go. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, she's got inspired by a song, and then she's written to it, and now we have Soldier, and that was her debut record. Yeah.
But she wasn't signed at that time.
Nah.
Does it start going like? So how does it? Was it going viral? Or
Yeah. That song went super viral. Yeah. The song went viral. Yeah.
Now this time, I'm presuming there would have been more labels involved, or am I getting it wrong?
Nah. Once again, you know, not many labels were involved, and I don't know why. Maybe it was the sound. This is an Afro sounding record.
Wait, sorry. So what year did she get signed?
2022.
Really?
Yeah.
2 years, they ain't cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So no other label was interested?
There was conversations, but the label she ended up signing to was the most interested label.
So no one else put an offer in?
Good question. I can't remember. But
That means it wasn't offer of significance.
But yeah, no, that's no disrespect to anyone. I proper can't remember, but definitely the label she signed to was the most interested. Definitely.
At this point, you've got A1 and J1
Yeah.
at the label. Then you've got Highlly at the label.
Yeah.
Not so when you're now going into negotiations, obviously you've got a lawyer. Are you now this is your second time?
Yeah.
Are you like pushing for more? Because
No. So you know what it is? Even with our first deal, with every deal we've done, really and truly, we don't believe in taking the money off the table. Naturally, that's just not what we're on. And to each their own, do you know what I mean? I can't tell you the way to do things or the way not to do things. Different things work for different people, do you know what I mean? Everyone rolls the dice, do you know what I mean? And different outcomes. But yeah, I just wouldn't take all the money off the table. There's deals we could have done and we really could have cashed out, but I'm not trying to cash out. Do you know what I mean? We're really trying to build. So yeah, we're really trying to build. When I think about the leverage we have at the point of signing all the deals that we've signed, we really could have cashed out and we didn't. Do you know what I mean?
anytime when you have belief in what you're doing, anytime you think, "Ugh, we probably should just cashed out, you know,
Nah, man. You know why, yeah?
stick it to your principles.
Yeah, man. Not only that, you know, the train hasn't stopped in it. Like,
There you go.
the train hasn't stopped. We're still going, and you know what I mean. Even if things ain't hot the way it once was, or no matter what stage we're at, like we'll always come again and we'll keep going. Do you know what I mean?
It's gonna sound mad, and I don't know if you're gonna understand when I say this to you. How do you know you could have cashed out?
When I say the leverage we had at the time,
You just didn't use your levers. You just didn't.
yeah,
Okay.
and that's because I don't believe in that. You know what I mean? Whereas someone else would have, and it would have made sense. It would have made a lot of sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, we've had serious leverage at the point of signing most of our deals, and we really could have cashed out. Definitely.
So Soldier comes out. Did the shoulder chart or did it?
Soldier charted in the Afrobeats charts. Yeah, but yeah, come out 2022, did well.
It's done decent streams. Like, yeah. So with that type of record, now you're managing a young lady.
Yeah.
As a manager, what's the differences in managing a duo and then managing a female singer?
Firstly, let me start with similarities, innit? They're all young. They're all artists. They're all creative. So number one, naturally you just play a role of, I guess, big bro. Especially when you come from where we come from.
Yep.
Naturally, that's just the dynamic of things. You know what I mean? Anyone that's younger than me, I just see them as a sibling. You're a younger sibling to me, so there's a care that we deal with them with because of that. And also, yeah, so there's that. Mental health's a big thing, and when I say that, some people get scared by the word, but nah, that's just, you know, like, take the stigma out of the word. These are young people that are in the entertainment business, and I can't think of many industries where the person is the commodity in it, and that's a lot to deal with. Whether they realize it or not, I can see it. You know what I mean? So those are the similarities. I can see that these people are navigating a lot. Whether they're aware or not, I can see they're navigating a lot. So these are some of the similarities. Different genres. Highlly is more of an Afro-influenced sound. You know what I mean? So yeah, just different processes, different things, man.
Is it harder to market Highlly as a artist because it's almost two different? The audience is like Highlly's supremely talented.
Yeah.
I knew that from when I first listened to her music when I was in the studio. It was in the Blanco session, and I remember you were playing me. I think it was you or Dealer, and definitely I know Emmanuel was in there playing me the music. No, it was you playing the music, and then Emmanuel came in.
Yeah.
And I remember I said to you, she's a worldie. I said, she's a worldie, right? And I remember after that session, I told everyone, I said, yo, this girl's serious. I told Marlon, I told Trap, I was like, yo, bro, this girl, do you know what I mean? Like, trust me, she's got something. But I feel with her, it's going to take time. It's going to take time.
Yeah.
I don't think, and she's still having to figure out certain things, I can tell.
Yeah.
Where do you see it as now? Because I'll say commercially, from a label perspective, there's a lot you have to believe in what she can be. And when she gets there, everything else will just, so she's going to need time. Well, where do you see she is along her development currently now? So like what, maybe 2 years she's been signed now?
Yeah.
2 years. How do you see how it's gone so far? Objectively.
Objectively speaking, if I'm being completely honest, well, I don't know how easy it is to be objective, but she's still in the early stages of her development. Like Highlly's she's just turned 20, you know what I mean? That's a 20-year-old. That's a baby. Do you know what I mean? Maybe to her she's not. Maybe some people, maybe in this industry, people don't see her as a baby. I don't know, but to me that's a baby, early on in her career. I always say it to people, and maybe they think I'm crazy. I'm just like, yo, I can't wait to see what she's like when she's 25. Do you know what I mean? Like when she's been through a few things, and when she's experienced a lot more. Like I want to see what the songwriting is like. I want to see what the styling is like. I want to see how she carries herself. I want to see what the energy is like at 25. So yeah, going by that, she's got time, man. She's early.
I picked on what you said before, bro. It's like the real development of the artist is key. If we're to judge an artist at 19, 20, it's like, bro, we hear it in every other sport. Kobe Maino's 19. Wait, when he's 25 and he's had like maybe 300 games, the music, and the other thing you said before, bro, like what industry is you are the commodity. Do you get me? Typically you have a job, cool, you can be replaced. Labels, you can be replaced, but they can't replace actually you as an individual. Like what you do is, they'll find someone else who can do something, but it's not you. I think that part is the real thing, bro. Like, how do you deal with actually every move you make is like being measured? Does that work? No. Did I get likes? Is it go viral? Is it? How do you, because she's 20, how does she view her making of music? How, like, is she creating freely, or is she creating with a bit of pressure, like, this needs to...
I can't really speak for her, but from my observation, it's a bit of both. Like sometimes she's free, sometimes she feels pressure. Just from my observation, but yeah, man, she's good. She's good.
She's very, very ambitious.
Very ambitious. Everybody that knows her well knows that still. Yeah.
Yeah, Highlly is very much focused on being a star.
Yeah. She wants to be a star still.
So, bro, look. So, House of Z. Do you give yourself, like, you see when you go home, wherever, with your family, whatever, do you deep what you've done yet, or is it just like?
Nah, I'll be real. People deep it more than me. So God bless my loved ones. So they tell me what I've done. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, like this industry, there's a trick. Like you never rest and look at what you've done. For the most part, maybe when you're at the end of your journey, you look at what you've done, like, oh, right, I did a thing. But, you know what I mean? But like, yeah, man, God bless my loved ones. They show me what I've done because they remember what it was like before I was doing this, innit? So, and they're not in it. So, you know, sometimes the view of something's better when you take a step back.
Is imposter syndrome ever a thing?
Of course, man. Of course. I can lie to you now and I'm like, nah, I'm meant to be it. But nah, it's a thing, man. It's a thing. Didn't know I'd ever be here. I'll be real. At the same time, it was inevitable that I'm here. But, you know.
How does it manifest, though, the imposter syndrome?
Bro, man, little things, man. You know how it is. Firstly, just walking into the building sometimes. I don't operate from buildings like that really and truly outside of this. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm very much on the ground, in the community, in the trenches, really and truly. Do you know what I mean? And that's everything I do outside of this. So sometimes when it comes to sitting in these meetings, whether it's an A&R meeting, a planning meeting with the team at the label internally, sometimes I just look like, you get me? I'm in the wrong place. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, things validate you, innit? Things validate your existence.
Facts,
you know what I mean? Things validate your existence, and I don't know if that feeling ever wears off, the imposter syndrome, I don't know, but we navigate nonetheless.
I think for A1 and J1, when they were having their success, I think a lot of people were trying to rubbish them. I feel like a lot of the older lot were almost downplaying their thing. It's not rap, it's not this, do you get what I mean? Did you feel you had to protect them from like...
Yeah, of course, man. There's things that happen that people aren't aware of, do you know what I mean? And
How did it impact them? Because that's the part I think people don't really know.
Okay, so I don't even know if they'll feel comfortable with me saying this kind of stuff, but you get me, the truth's the truth. Whether they would like to accept it or not, I could see it took a toll on them, innit? Especially A1, innit? A1's the younger one. A1's 15 at the time, really and truly, innit? Super talented kid. Super talented. Very vulnerable, though. Very vulnerable. And he masked that vulnerability with bravado sometimes, or charisma. You know what I mean? So I don't know if you've seen him. I remember at the Brit Awards, he was trying to flirt with Maya Jama or something, or at Wireless or something. I remember when we was on Capital Extra, he was flirting with Yinka. That's A1. You know what I mean? He has a lot of charisma. But then, as well as having all this charisma and stuff, he's a creative, innit? So he's vulnerable. He's putting himself out there, and some things get to him. So I remember at the time, and we won't dwell too long on it because we don't like to shed too much light on things that are negative. But it's a teachable moment, I think, anyway, innit? When they've come out the gate with their success, with their first couple records, I just remember people just running commentary on it, and the narrative was
Bloggers.
Yeah. People just running the narratives and just saying things that were being taken in negative ways by like viewers and consumers and the public, innit? And I don't know if these people are aware of the power they hold. Do you know what I mean? Or how powerful narratives are when you put them out there. Some of them take on a life of its own, and you can't put a stop to it. So yeah, there was a few people that said a few things or spoke on the boys' music in a way, and it took on a life of its own, and it affected the boys. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, just word to people sometimes, be careful when you're speaking, especially on young people, because that's my thing. These were young people, innit? They were minors at the time when they first come out. You know what I mean? And we had grown-ups speaking on their creativity, their music, in ways that were kind of negative, man, disheartening to them. And when I think about what they were doing, I'm like, wow, we should be proud and bigging them up because they've chosen this path when very easily they could have chosen that path. You know what I mean? And the boys, as minors, did major things, like major success. These boys bought houses for their family, man. You know what I mean? Bought houses for their families at a young age. They're teenagers. You know what I mean? These are things that we should be highlighting. That, but instead, some people are having conversations on whether they're industry plants or not. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, we only have those conversations in our community, really, or that's how I perceive it anyway, innit? So yeah, teachable moment, man. Like, be mindful of the things you say, man.
And it was uncalled for. It's not like they're not going out targeting people that speaking.
Nah, uncalled for, man. Uncalled for. But yeah, man, I just remember the industry plant narrative. And if you really know, do you get me? And maybe it's my fault. Maybe I should have been front line, because you can't perceive me as, I'm not an industry plant, innit? I couldn't pretend to be.
If they know they...
Do you know what I mean? So
the furthest thing.
Maybe it's my fault. Maybe I should have come out front of house a bit more in line with them coming out with their debut single and things like that, and maybe people would have realised, oh, this is...
I don't think you saw that coming, though.
I didn't.
You didn't see it coming.
I didn't, man.
And then by the time... And I know you've had some conversations with people about that, but that's crazy. They bought houses for their...
Yeah, man.
Within our community, we don't speak about, like, in the UK, your house, was it the king? Was it the house? Is it King's house? Whatever it's called is, bro. Like, bro, people at our age ain't even done it.
Yeah, man. The boys have done well, man. They've done well, man. No matter how you look at it, objectively speaking, they've done well. And I think, obviously, music is music. People have their opinions on music, and that's fair. I think it's important to encourage people or critics of music to be able to critique freely, innit? But then also just be careful and mindful, because when you're spinning narratives now that negatively impact especially kids, which they were at the time, you get me, you have to take some accountability.
Bro, wait, was Tion on the remix?
No, T1, so Soldier come out and, yeah, man, so like a bit of marketing genius. We released a couple versions of the record because a few different versions of the record went viral, because Highlly's a bit of a genius sometimes, right? So Highlly had...
Wait, is that making me think that she just done it on her own and that wasn't part of the original plan?
Say that again?
Did she just go with that, and that wasn't part of the original plan.
No. So Highlly, yeah, she was teasing Soldier for a long time. If I'm honest, she teased it for a few months, maybe 3 months before it come out.
Yeah.
And in that time, she had released different versions online. So she had a pitched up version, maybe a slowed down version, a version where the beat drops later. She just did all these things off her own accord, innit?
Sick.
And all those versions did well. But yeah, Tion obviously jumped on the original, but we released it at the same time as a few other versions of the record, if that makes sense.
What, did you play a role? Obviously, I know Emmanuel probably would have played a role, but you know Tion personally.
Yeah.
So do you call him up and say, bro?
And so yeah,
don't go crazy on the feature, because we know Tion takes the bag. We know this. Everyone knows this.
I wouldn't know that. I have no experience of him doing that. You know what I mean? But yeah, I know I've known Tion for over 10 years. Do you know what I mean? Outside of music, away from music, but like, you get me, from different sides of London. But I know Tion, and that's people's. The record made sense. The record made sense. Had a conversation. Tion pulled up. Tion delivered. Do you get me? And yeah, he delivered on the A1 and J1 record as well for me as well. So yeah, and that's people's, man.
Another thing, bro, like, bro, what I guess in hindsight, bro, because there's things that'll stay off the interview, but bro, just like tips, like as a manager, or I won't say lessons. What tips or 5 key things you think you should do as a manager, you should be aware of as a manager? Just if anything just comes to mind.
Yeah, I couldn't say 5 key things. There's different things, man. But one, strategy is important, man. Have a clear strategy, clear plan, but also the ability to adapt and react to things is important at the same time. You have to be really good at managing and navigating people as a manager as well. Your relationships are important. So I don't know what it's like for other people, but I notice in and around, let me not say that anyway. But yeah, I just noticed some managers have an ego about them or are perceived to have an ego. Some managers don't like to connect with people. And, you know, if you know what you're doing, you know what you're doing. I can't tell you what to do, but sometimes it may affect the long-term plan for the artists or how people perceive the artists. Do you know what I mean? It may affect the business that can be done with the artists. So yeah, your relationships with people are important. Navigating people is important. Just knowing the business as well. Sorry, man, it may sound like I'm saying the same thing a couple times in a few different ways. Ego is a killer. Ego is a killer. Sometimes you don't know, and it's okay to not know, but let it be known that you don't know. And have people that you can speak to about not knowing. Have people you can go to for information. So there's people that are wrong and strong. So some people don't know how a certain deal works or how this works or how that works, but they're scared to come out and show that they don't know, innit? They feel like it takes away from who they are, the bravado of who they are, innit? But it doesn't, you get me? Your job is to learn and be competent at what you do. So if you don't know, make sure you get to know, right? You know what I mean?
You probably alluded to it, but the 2 closer question is your purpose in music and the main lessons you learned in music.
Yeah, that's a big boy question. The purpose question is a big boy question. You know what, yeah. Music is naturally, like I said, it's inevitable I'm hearing it because there's just certain things that are just embedded in the community and the place I'm from. Music's one of those things. So naturally I was always going to be a part of music in some way, shape or form. My purpose in this thing is to actually be of service, really and truly. Obviously there's a few other things, but being of service is one of the main things. And there's some artists out there today that, you know, sometimes I just hit up and I might put together a session or something. And it's not to gain anything. I don't take anything from them. It's just, I wish I had that before I come in or when I first come in, you know what I mean? Someone that would just show me a play or direct me or just give me a word of advice and not take anything from me, innit? So yeah, like I really want to be of service to people where I can be. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, service. That's, I'd say that's one of my purposes in this thing. And what was the second question?
Lessons.
So many lessons, man. One thing that's heavy on my heart to address is I remember when we touched on it earlier, innit? So we were talking about a community when you mentioned A1 and J1. We mentioned Highlly, you mentioned Kidwild, and how I met all of them. I remember when these guys were all cutting through, there was a few other people. Nems come through at a similar time. There was a guy called JB. JB come through at a similar time. Big up JB. A few people, you know what I mean, were just cutting through at a similar time, similar communities, similar era, do you know what I mean? And I wouldn't say this is a lesson for me, but just something I observed at the time, which I was trying to facilitate. I was just trying to facilitate building a scene. So networking across rather than up, do you know what I mean? So, yo, you work with him, you lot all just get in and around each other, innit? I understand it can't always happen, but if everyone could get in and around each other at the right times,
it's an ecosystem.
You start to build this thing around each other, innit? And that's something that was originally that was the plan. When I first come in the game with my artists, like, yo, we're just gonna build this mad scene around each other, innit? So you lot are gonna work with him and he's gonna work with him and it's all gonna feed into each other. You're gonna come out at this show, they're gonna come, and it happened. Well, I saw glimpses of it at A1 and J1's first show. I remember we just had a bunch of people come out. Nems was one of those people. JB come out. Switch OTR come out at the time. Like, bare people just come out. Do you know what I mean? And I just remember all the fans at the time were just like, rah, I paid £10 and saw this person, that person, that person. And I was like, yeah, this is what we're trying to build. But for whatever reason, things just don't happen that way. So a lesson I learned, I guess, is building a scene around each, like just building a scene together is really important. No man is an island at all. And an ecosystem is important, you know what I mean? It's important that you collaborate with this person and that person, and you lot all build, because things feed into one another. Do you know what I mean? And the thing, or this thing, just becomes bigger than ourselves. Do you know what I mean?
You know, the interesting thing is, the caveat is the only person or the only entity that understand that is the labels. Because, and what I mean the labels is like you will build this value, they'll throw a bit of money, then they take it. And they're typically the ones that, and I could tell you for a fact, bro, when an artist is signed to a label, there may be ideas of like collaborations, and the label will say, that person's washed, don't work with them. So I can say it, I'm not saying, I know it's said, bro.
Yeah.
And last year, the same person they're saying is washed this year is people that they thought should be working with the artist because it would have made sense on a vertical alignment. It wasn't just like, is it a good song? Can I make good music? It was like, does this, is it going to position this? Music's just turned positioning now. It's not like how good is the music. So I agree with you, bro. That, and I think now that we have everyone, not everyone kind of coming out their deals, now people have to figure it out. Everything's being washed away. Those walls of like people aren't performing like they used to. You gotta figure it out. But if you had that ecosystem before, it's like that loan. You could just go in there, tap into that.
It's true.
But now everyone is full. Everyone's having to try and rebuild, and they never built it in the first place. A viral song or a label just pushing you doesn't create foundations.
At all.
We see it, bro.
At all.
Lastly, okay, cool. So like for people, I want them to know, yeah, this is our humble brag. Deej, myself, my favorite song on Trap's album, we was involved. We was involved. I'll tell the story. Actually, I'm gonna let you tell the story so you understand. Like, talk to us about Highlly getting onto Trap's project.
So interesting, isn't it? I don't know if you remember it this way, but we had a conversation way before that studio session happened, and I think I told you one of my plans for Highlly was to have a collaborate with a UK rapper.
Let me pause there.
Yeah.
And this is where this is real conversation. That wasn't the labels. Some people's opinion that Highlly should go UK rap. It was just stay away from UK rap. It's a fair point?
Yeah, fair point.
Okay, cool. Not for anyone but us, but it's cool. But yeah, carry on.
So yeah, I remember we had that conversation. I guess not everyone agreed at the time. Not to say that they didn't want that to happen. Maybe if that idea was presented at the time, they would have been like, yeah, let's do it. But that was a priority for me, innit? That was a priority for me. Maybe not a priority for others. We all have different ideas and stuff. But yeah, we had that conversation way before the sessions happened. But I was happy I planted that seed and said it. And I was happy I played you the music that day, because then you've come away like, "Rah, she's cold." And then you've just gone away and you're just working on things without me knowing. And then you've just hit me up. And then you've told me, "Rah, you've spoken to so-and-so and so-and-so." Okay. And then some more times passed and you're like, "Yo, Trap's doing a camp. Pull up." Do you know what I mean?
Quay.
Yeah. It was a good camp though, good camp, innit? And shouts out to Trap and his team, innit, car. Yeah. They embraced Highlly, innit? Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that was a good camp. Like, out of the way. Just no one there really, apart from people that were working. And yeah, I've been in a few camps myself. Everyone has their ways of working, innit? I was impressed. And it was insightful to see that kind of camp where man them ain't around, like people ain't around. There is no vibe other than music. You know what I mean? And conversation. So yeah, Highlly's come to the session, and I even like the way Trap worked with her. So he gave her space. You know what I mean? He gave her space. He identified quickly, like, "Yo, you know what? You take the lead on this. You know what I mean? You create a vibe, and let me fill in the blanks." You know what I mean? And I remember, I think Pharrell said something one time. I remember him saying something like, "One of the bossiest things someone can do, or one of the best things a boss can do, is to not take space in the room." You know what I mean? So yeah, I'd say that's an example of, or that's what Trap did in that session there. He let Highlly and the producer, ATG, and he let everyone just work how they were working, and then he came and then did his part. Yeah, man.
I'll add a few little gaps to it. In this session, there was a lot of, when you go to that camp, there's quite a few people there, right?
Yeah.
All musicians.
Musicians, yeah.
Highlly, although Highlly's got star energy, she's the only girl there.
Yeah.
I remember you said to me, it was like, not that she found it intimidating, I'm not going to say that, but it's like, let's find a way to encourage her. So I said to you, I was like, "Yo, let's step out the room." And then that's when I said, "Yo, Trap, without all these people here, just you two talk." And it was key for you to identify that. Because otherwise, I came after you guys had arrived.
Yeah.
And when it was me, you and Trap and Highlly outside, and as you said, bro, he was like, "Listen, I'm here to just do your thing." And I think that's what really played, and that's why I say it's great management on your behalf, because it allowed you to get the best out of the artist.
Yeah.
But then also you were like, "I don't want to, like, I'm new in this situation too. I don't want to impose myself on these people here."
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying that all these things is like, it's collaborations of like, "Yo, bro, that's your guy, you're my guy, this is my artist.
Yeah.
Let's figure it out."
Yeah.
And I think that to me was a stroke of genius on your part, bro, because it allowed, I think after that she went in with more confidence.
Yeah, of course.
Do you get me?
And the song was made
So-
post that conversation.
Yeah, man. Hey, Deej is funny, you know. I've never seen Deej flustered, yeah. And I'm like, he must have. I would have bugged out in certain situations.
Bro, do you know what it is, yeah?
I don't know. Your poker face is different. I don't know how you do.
Bro,
Because I know where you're from, bro.
Yeah.
So I know this is a bit of an industry
Bro,
facade.
the truth is, yeah, things get to me, man. But at the same time, cool head, because who said it to me? I remember way before music, I lost my cool in a situation, yeah. And someone just said something along the lines of, "Never be the lion in a circus, because then you're a clown." Do you know what I mean?
I like that. I'm gonna write there.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
2025 is around the corner. Highlly's obviously hopefully going to be dropping new music, a project.
Of course.
She's working with some great producers.
Yeah, man, excited.
Yeah, like I know you're excited with that because you're now going to push her into a space where she can actually grow as an artist and develop. A1 and J1, hopefully be releasing new music.
Yeah, man.
Kidwild again. Are you going to be looking for like more talent or?
Yeah, man, open to it. Once again, like.
What are you looking for? Summer season. What are you looking for? What do you want to?
I'm not looking for anything specific. I'm looking for a feeling. Do you get me? Like I said, like when I described the Pozer Situation, it was a feeling that I got when I heard him rap. You know what I mean? So I'm just looking for a feeling in it. Once I identify that, we can work in whatever capacity it may be. You know what I mean? You know, yeah. I don't have to manage. I don't necessarily have to sign you, but we can work in whatever capacity it may be. But yeah, apart from that, yeah, keep building and developing my artists. You know, Kidwild, A1, J1, Highlly, of course. Move into a few other things that I'm already, do you know what I mean?
You're not just
interested
going to stay in music, are you?
Pardon?
You're not just going to stay in music.
No. It's not just music. It's sports as well. It's a few other things as well. A few other things. All sports, TV, and entertainment related. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, man. Yeah, man. There's a few other things we're interested in that we're already working in.